Welcome to the Beginner's Caricature tutorial series. In each video, I'll focus on a particular concept related to caricature, and today I'll introduce a three-step process that can organize you as you turn your subject, in this case my friend Richmond, into a polished caricature. I'll also talk about an important rule in caricature called the law of constant mass. Much of the theory for this video comes from the book Mad Art of Caricature by Tom Richmond, and I really recommend you pick it up because I learned a lot from it. So now let's get started on step one. Step one is observation. Observation in the context of caricatures means that you should think of an average face, a face where all the elements are the same distance from each other and nothing stands out. And now ask yourself, how does the face of my subject differ from this average face? What stands out? Whatever you come up with, that's going to be your usable caricaturing observations. You shouldn't overthink these observations because different people are going to come up with somewhat different answers. So what I see with Richmond is his face very long. He's got a very long face, large forehead, and a significant chin. His eyes are a little bit heavy-lidded, which I don't know if that comes across in the picture, but it's more because I know him. His nose is a little wide, and then his mouth, no lips. Okay, that's it. Those are my observations. Now we're ready for step two. Step two is laying a foundation, which means we're going to draw a simple blueprint of the subject's face where we highlight the observations from step one. In a live event, I would do the step in my head or with some very quick lines in pencil. I'm going to draw Richmond's face in simple lines over an average face so you can see the differences between Richmond's face and an average face. The first thing you should notice is that I'm extending the chin, I'm extending the jaw, and the face is oval shaped and it's narrower than the average face. This leads me to a rule I learned from Tom Richmond. It's called the law of constant mass. The idea is that you only have so much mass in a face. So if you make one part bigger, like the chin of Richmond, then that mass needs to come from somewhere else, like the width of the rest of the face or the top of the forehead. So if I stretch out the face is going to get naturally narrower, almost as if the face were made out of rubber. Now, I drew a small neck because I want to create contrast with the big chin. And finally, because the face became narrower, I need to push the eyes closer together. And there is our foundation for our drawing. Step three is applying visual vocabulary, which is an inelegant title for going over your foundation with a variety of lines and shapes. I'm going to use two types of pen. A Copic brush marker for thicker lines, and a Staedtler permanent marker for my thinner lines. First, I'm going to go over my outline with a pretty thick line, whatever is one of the thicker lines I can get out of my brush marker. You want to use the thickest possible lines for the outline of the figure. So that includes the top of the head, the side of the head, and especially the jawline because you want to make the jawline stand out. Now I'm going to go with the hair. I used to have a lot of trouble with hair, and that's really a topic that I would probably do in another video. I feel a lot more comfortable with it right now, but hair was probably the last thing that I learned. The idea is that he's got a lot of curls. So you just want to follow the curls along the head and make your lines follow the path of the hair. And then every once in a while you want to have some curls jutting out. If you notice, I don't finish out the curls. I don't make them into pointy edges. It makes the hair feel a little bit more airy. Now I'm going to draw the nose, and this is where the phrase applying visual vocabulary can help. When I started out as a caricaturist, I just didn't know how to draw a nose or how to draw eyes or how to draw a mouth in a way that looked cartoony. So I highly recommend that you look at references that you can use when you're starting out because you want to increase your visual vocabulary. In this case, I Googled imaged caricature noses. That image came up, and I am going to use one of the noses. And if you see, I am literally just drawing the nose that I see. And it's a little bit like a Mr. Potato Head effect, but it works. Now I'm going to draw the eyeglasses, which I probably should have done earlier, but I forgot. So I'm just going to use a marker and just quickly put in the frame so it doesn't get in the way when I draw the eyes, which I am going to draw right now. As before, I looked up some eyes in Google Image, and so I selected the top left, which seemed a little bit heavy-lidded to me. And so right now I'm just copying the same eye that I see over there with the same shape, because I think it works well for Richmond's personality. Now I'm going to add lines for the eyebrows and the mouth, and I'm going to focus on having asymmetry. Asymmetry in a caricature adds personality because your face isn't really symmetrical. So if you notice, my eyebrows are asymmetrical. One of them is taller than the other. And the mouth is very uneven as well to give him a little bit of personality and a little bit of smirk. Now I'm going to use my thin line to add the hair of his beard, which is another advantage is that I can also use it to trace the outline of the lips that I'm not even going to draw because they're so thin. Now I'm going to add shadows underneath the nose and neck, and especially around the head where the head comes into contact with the hair. You do this to make the face pop out. And the finishing touches are adding the pupils, lines in the hair to trace the motion of the hair. You want to make sure you use thin lines for all of this. And finally adding the shoulders, which are a lot narrower than his real shoulders are, because again, I don't want to detract attention away from the chin, which is the thing I most want to exaggerate. And there it is. Thank you for watching.